Alright, so we're on 6.4, which is least common denominators, and this section's important only because the next sections that we're going to head on to, we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions, where you're going to have to factor and find common denominators, and in order to do that, we want to make sure that you are familiar with least common denominators and how to do them with these special kind of fractions that we've been working with recently. First off, I'm going to kind of just remind you about kind of how to change a fraction. It should be pretty simple. If you have 3/7 and I want to keep it the same, you multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing. So for example, I'm multiplying the top, let's say I'm multiplying the top and the bottom both by 5, and we know we multiply across, so we get 15 over 35. So again, 3/7 is the same as 15/35. One thing people need to keep in mind, we're not multiplying by 5. We're multiplying the top and the bottom both by 5. So technically, we're actually multiplying by 1, because 5 over 5 is 1. That's why we're not changing the problem. So we're going to come here, and we need to basically figure out what the missing question mark is. And I think the best way to do that is figuring out 3a times what gives me 18a squared. And I know that 3 times 6 gives me 18, and I know that a times a gives me a squared, so 3a times 6a gives me 18a squared. So whatever I do with the bottom, I have to do with the top. So I'm multiplying the top and the bottom by 6a over 6a, which is really multiplying by 1. So 8 times 6a is 48a. So that's what our question mark would be. Now, number 2 is a little bit different. So I start with x minus 5, and then I end up having x minus 5 times x minus 1, or x plus 1. So what I'm missing is a x plus 1. So that's what I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by. So I do that, and that leaves me with the top of 2 times x plus 1. Again, you can always multiply that out, and we might have to later on when we're adding and subtracting fractions, but right now I'll just leave it like that. Again, y'all might be like, but you can cancel out the x plus 1s. Yeah, I know. That's why it equals this, but I don't want to do that. I wanted to change the denominator. Okay, so the rules for finding LCD. First, factor each denominator completely. Like we've been doing in all of our sections, the first thing you do is factor. Factor, 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 factor. First. Okay? Be sure to pay attention to the monomial factors. Monomials is where it's by itself, like it's like x or 5a or whatever, as well as binomial factors, which binomial factors are like something plus something or something minus something. So x plus a, x minus a, x plus 1, x plus 2, stuff like that. So make sure you're paying attention to both. Then it says multiply the greatest power of each factor occurring in all denominators. If this doesn't make as much sense, it will hopefully once we work on these problems. So we're finding the LCD. LCD is pretty much an LCM, but you use it for the denominators. So we're looking at the denominators, and I'm going to do the factor tree or prime factorization for each one so that I know which factors I need to use, okay? The highest factor. So, a 4 I know is 2 squared, that's easy. So I'm going to do the factor tree to 30 over here, which is do 3 and 5. And that's obviously for 15, sorry, 3 and 10. Then I'm going to do 2 and 5. So 3 times 2 times 5, or I'm going to say 2 times 3 times 5 times 5. And then lastly, 45, I know I can do 9 and 5, then that's 3 and 3, so 45 is 3 squared times 5. Again, when we were finding LCM, like several chapters ago, we had to take the highest power of each factor. So we're looking at the numbers, 2. Okay, so this one has 2 squared, this one has 2, this one doesn't have anything. For LCM, you take the highest power. So the highest power any of them have of 2 is 2 squared. Then I look at 3, the highest power of 3 any of them have is 3 squared. And the highest power of 5 anyone has is 5, so I can pick either one, this one or this one. And that's what I have to multiply together. So I'm going to say 2 squared times 3 squared times 5, which is 4 times 9 times 5, which I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator right here, which 4 times 9 times 5 equals 180. So my LCM, or LCD, either one, is 180. It didn't ask me to change anything, but I could if I needed to. But that's my LCD. Alrighty, again, first thing, I need to factor this. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to factor out a 6, because that is the GCF down there. And that leaves me with x minus 5. So I'm just going to cross that out, because instead of that, I have my factored form. This one, I can factor out a 9, and I'm left with x minus 5. And so I'm going to cross that out. So I'm going to actually split up my 6, and that's 2 times 3. And my 9 is, well, 3 squared. So I need to find I have my monomial factors, which are 2 and 3 and 3 squared, and I have my binomial factors, which is x minus 5 and x minus 5. So I have to take the highest power of each one. Well, the highest power of 2 is 2. The highest power of 3 is 3 squared, and the highest power of x minus 5 is either one, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to take that. So now I'm going to multiply them all together. So I have 2 times 3 squared times x minus 5, which equals 2 times 9, which is 18, x minus 5. There's no need to multiply the rest out. So that is my LCD. Now rewrite this with their LCD. So not only do I have to find the LCD, but I have to rewrite the fraction with the LCD. So first I'm going to factor like we do for anything. And I'm going to take, so that adds to negative 8 and multiplies to 16. So that's negative 4 and 4. So x minus 4, which is the same as 4 squared, right? You can write it either way. I'm going to cancel that out because that's the same thing. Add to negative 7, multiply to 12. That's x minus 4 and x minus 3. So I'm just going to cancel that out. So now I have my new fractions, and now I got to figure out what my LCD is. Well, the way I can think about it, I have 2 x minus 4s, and I only have 1 here. So the highest power is the 2, so this one is my highest power of the x minus 4 factor. But it also has an x minus 3, so I'm going to have to multiply both of them. So really, my LCD is x minus 3, and then x minus 4 and x minus 4. I can write it out either way. It's squared, or I can write it twice. This is my LCD. Now I need to make sure I need to change both of my problems. So I need to change 9 over x minus 4 times x minus 4. I need it to have a denominator of x minus 3, x minus 4, x minus 4. So, in order to get from this denominator to this denominator, I need to multiply this side by an x minus 3 over an x minus 3, because that equals 1. So, the 9 gets changed to 9 times x minus 3. So that's my new fraction for that one. And then I have 5 times x minus 4, x minus 3, and I need it to be equal to x minus 3 times x minus 4 times x minus 4. What did I have to do to get to this denominator to this denominator? I needed to multiply by a x minus 4. Okay, and then I have 5 times x minus 4. So again, the key thing is to factor. Then we need to find the greatest power of each factor to help find the LCD. There you go.